Okay, so I guess over here, it's talking about doing tshuva. Another reason. We don't know when our end is going to be. I don't know if you follow the Orthodox news, Ron. But just, was it yesterday, 2 days ago, the Rosh Yeshiva of Chicago tells he was all of 63. He just came home and died.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, nobody knows how long they got. He was healthy, he was fine. There was no warning.
I've heard stories like that, unfortunately. And it's just
Yeah. And certainly when you get older, you have to really factor that in as a reality. I think it was the Chofetz Chaim who said, one of the people said, that we all know we're going to die. I mean, it's a fact of life, right? Yet we don't relate to it because we feel there's some type of exclusive club of people who died, but not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
but we know that life is all about dying. Nobody gets past that. In any case,
I heard this in an idea. Like it's like I've seen this where like someone your age, dies. It makes you start questioning your own mortality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're meant to. That's all we're meant to do, really. Part of the what we're supposed to do is when we come across such things is relate to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't know. We don't know how long. Sometimes it could be we were just given a very short life, not necessarily as a punishment. We fulfill. This is the amount of years you got for whatever reason. He says, so give yourself some thought. Oh, we did learn this, but okay. If a person would come and warn the people in the city, or a certain country, and say to them, B'nai Adam, you can only pass on a guys, get ready for your trip to Elam Abba, because one of you this month, I'm telling you right now, one of you this month is going to die. But any of them mean we can. Well, I don't know who it is. Let's say there would be such a story. So wouldn't logic obligate us, that each one of that city is going to cross him up, prepare himself. They shall love lachshus. He has to factor in he might be the one, right? A person came, or Navi, whatever, and said someone here is going to die this month. So how can it be that we don't prepare us? Open the obituary column. You see that every month. Many people die. And in Cain, right, it's a given. In Yerushalayim, every day there's new signs up, You can't say people don't die. You see people die. It's a given. So the logic obligates us that every month we should factor in that maybe we'll die. And therefore, give thought to what we've done until now. And what do we need to do further to prepare ourselves for that trip? Well, I'm saying, what do we have to do to prepare ourselves for the place that's designated for our neshamas? The focus here, at least one day beforehand, we should prepare. As it says in Pirkei Avos, do tshuva one day before you die, at least that. Over there, the Gemara says, how do you know? You don't know what that one day is. So therefore, for sure, you should do tshuva every day, because maybe today's the day. Koheles tells us, at all times, your clothing should be white, which is a mashal to pure, no averis.
Can we really live like that though? Like, is that actually realistic?
Yeah, if we're healthy. If we're healthy, you can balance these things.
Okay, so how would you balance these things? Like you're trying to say it as a constant here, and we're like, well, if you're always focused on, well, I might just die tomorrow, then then it's almost like, why am I even doing anything?
No, so obviously a healthy person who has that thought, it becomes something to spur him further in seeing what he could do better that day, or what could he do better tomorrow. Take an inventory, a spiritual inventory before he goes to sleep, knowing and saying, okay, so I'm doing two. I messed up this and this, and tomorrow I'm going to be better. It doesn't mean he walks around depressed. It means that it's a real thing, It's just a real thing that he factors in and he moves on further. Someone who's not so healthy shouldn't do it. If it causes depression in Yush, then no, don't do it, because that's not what we're looking for. Depression in Yush is an Avera on its own, so to speak. I mean, if it's mental illness, can't call it an Avera, but okay. So he says, so look at the facts, right? The facts speak very loudly, and they're stronger than his moshe of someone coming and saying that someone's going to die. The facts are there. He says, and don't push off. That's the next step. Because many times we have that inspiration. We see it. But one of the major kalim of the Yetzer Hara is I'll do it later. In an hour, in a day, tomorrow, now I'm busy, I can't do it. He says, don't push off what your mind is telling you and teaching you. Again, when we learned this last time, we said he doesn't give us it's not the first time that he saying something, right? Or something that's not a positive. Baruch Hu gave his servants many benefits. If they accept it and do his will with what he's giving them, so they'll have benefit. They'll have pleasure and they'll benefit from it. But if they refuse to really accept it, and rather use them against Hashem's will, Hashem gives us many gifts. We're able to walk, we're able to talk, we're able to think, we're able to see. Right? And we're meant to use all these gifts, tremendous gifts, to serve Hashem. Rav Miller, many places writes, you see someone who's a crippled, should be full of compassion for him. But the other hand, why did Hashem cause it that I should see that person? Is that I should appreciate that I can walk and thank Hashem for it and use it for the right thing. So,
and then you say they're lucky that because they don't have the responsibilities that you have.
That's something else. But they're not lucky. And lucky is a funny term, because we just say someone's lucky that if he doesn't have an opportunity to make $1 million and you do, okay, so you have to now do the right things to get the $1 million. And like he says on the next line, you're held responsible if you don't do what you're supposed to do. On the other hand, you can get $1 million. It's limited. It becomes a minus. It becomes a complaint against them. Why didn't you serve Hashem with that? He gave you gifts. When Hashem will punish them for that, then it became a bad thing, right? Then, retroactively, it would have been better that I didn't have those gifts, right? Like you said, Hashem gave us wisdom, right? Also, I think, I know it's Rav Miller, but I mean, das means Hashem gave us a gift of das. It's a gift. It's not a given. And if he doesn't give it to us, then, we ask Hashem to give it to us, which means it's not a gift. It's not something we have. We have to daven every day, 3 times a day. Give us this gift of Chachma Bina Vadas, or whatever you say. something that's whatever the other nusach dashkin, whatever it is, you see, and it's the first bracha because you can't get past anything without us, without intellect. But it's not that it's a given that we have intellect. It's just like we ask for good health and we ask for parnasa. You have to ask for the das every day. So Hashem gave us that das. He gave us chachma, tuna, v'das, which makes us different than the animals, than everything else.
Well, why isn't that a bracha hodah? And if that's how we're looking,
Because that's just what I said. Because it's something we're asking for.
But
the request, not hodah. Well, we start off by stating that we know that Hashem gave it to us, but He's given it to us. Continue giving it to us. Oh, what's better than one Rabbi Ganowski? Two Rabbi.
That's right. Exactly.
So he's already shown Shahen like Hashem is not good.
Oh, hold on, but you can throw that. You can throw that against everything. It's like, well, Hashem gave us das, great, but Hashem also gave us what some of the Malbi Sharumi, right? These are so you can use the same logic over there to say
Malbi Sharumi, by all those brachas, we don't then end up saying so. Turn it into request, right? They were just thanking Hashem for it, and all those brachas. But I'm saying we're saying it's really a request. First, we have to make the statement we know it's from Hashem. Otherwise, we can't ask it. And like I'm saying, das is something people don't necessarily, if they don't give it thought, don't realize that it's a gift from Hashem. That's part of me. Yeah, of course I have das. So the first thing is I have to make a statement. So that and that's the jumping board to therefore say, wow, you gave it to me, so please continue giving it. So the bracha, in fact, is a request. The brachas you're saying, there's no request in there. It's all thanking Hashem for what He gave us.
Well, if you go like the Garden of Gratitude books, you're saying everything you should be thanking Hashem for each element as a shevach, as opposed to as a bakasha.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't be asking Him for it also, right?
It just sounds like you should be doing both. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but but in Shemona Esrei, after the first three brachas, the next group, 11, I think, are requests, right? They are statements that obviously that Hashem is the address for them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be asking Him for it, right? Whatever we say that we're obviously making a statement, and whether an outright statement or an inherent statement, right? That you're the address, it's from you, and we're asking you for it. But if so, you got to take care of that das. There's no complaint from Hashem on the cow if it does something. The cow doesn't have das, and he's not held responsible for his actions. But we did get it, and we're held responsible that we need to use it for the right.
I lost you there. If a cow does something, we don't blame Hashem for it.
No, you don't blame the cow. There's no complaint against the cow. It's a cow. But a person who's granted, that's why you don't take a cow to court, right, so to speak, but you do take people to court when they do wrong because they're held responsible for their behavior because they were granted chokhmah. And if so, it comes with a price tag, and you're going to be held responsible for using it right. And therefore, we have to do tshuva. Baal Tasha Satzmach says, don't fool yourself. Don't trick yourself. Shatuchal is not so b'taina. You'll have an excuse, Tasha. No one told me. I didn't know the right way. I didn't know. No one told you to come do tshuva. Because Akash Baruch Hu did. And Hashem gave us the road to take us to our benefits, our good. The Shari Tshuva, the first paragraph, Shari Tshuva talks and describes, he starts off saying, Chasodim she. Mamish, the first lines of the Sefer. the benefits, from the good that Hashem did with his creations. We prepared for them the way that they can lift themselves up from the quicksand, from the where they fall. To save themselves from remove any anger against them. And that's number one. He prepared it. He created a thing called tshuva, which is a tremendous gift. Tremendous gift. And then the second thing is that he taught us to use it. He told us there is such thing as tshuva, and he made it even a mitzvah. Limdam v'ziram. To return and do tshuva when you did an avera. It's all of Hashem's goodness. Hashem knows that we're fragile. He knows that we're frail. Therefore, he taught sinners the way. And even if you did pesha and limmerida, that's rebellious actions. The doors of tshuva are still open. Come back, even those who have gone deep. And we're commanded to do tshuva in many places in the Torah, etc., etc. Okay, so you can't get away with that. I didn't know. Again, Ron, we're not talking about Tinuk Shanishba. We're not talking about people who never knew there's a Torah, never opened up a chumash. We're talking about people who know this Torah, keep Torah, know about it. Why did he do that? Because he has mercy on us. And he leads us with sensitivity, maybe. And he doesn't want that we should stay in our foolishness and in our rebellion. He doesn't want that. So he taught us. He gave us tshuva, says the Shara Tshuva, and he taught us to do it. And he acts with us through the midah of chesed, Shara Tshuva. From the chasodim that Hashem did, it's part of chesed, which is fitting for HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a Baal Chesed. Since he has mercy on his creations, same pasuk, Hashem. Hashem is good and Yosher, Akain Yoreh, therefore he teaches Chatoim Badorach, he teaches the sinners the way. And he called out to you to do tshuva. He starts off with gentle hints. And afterwards with rebuke. And then he warns you about the punishment. All of this is, again, not to frighten us, not to scare us, but to cause us to do tshuva. That we should come back and quickly come back to his service. He's my brother. Be quick. Again, don't delay. Listen to him. Listen to his voice, his message. Come close to Hashem. And choose for you what Hashem has chosen for you. And don't let your laziness bring you to minimize the value of your nefesh. If you don't value your nefesh, what could you value already? Sounds like he's, calling here that you should appreciate your value. If a person doesn't have value and he doesn't think a lot of himself, so then there's no reason for him to do tshuva, really. I'm a nothing. It's okay, but if someone has, I guess the slabot gadlus ha'odam, he realized how the value of having a nefesh, that in itself is a tremendous zeros to motivation to do tshuva. I'm great. Why would I want to stay in the mud if I'm great? I have great abilities. Says over here in a little, this is an addition. Even a person who most of his life he sinned. Hashem accepts him also tshuva. Even on your last day, you could correct. Everything you messed up your whole life. Moshel Niflas, and the Chovos haLevavos brings here a great moshel. He says, another thing you got to be careful for. Right? One thing was the delay, don't find excuses. He says another thing is you shouldn't allow your thoughts to convince you of the following. Now, it's been a long time, years, that I've ignored my responsibilities to Hashem. And most of my life is behind me, and I messed up. Now I'm going to do tshuva. There's no way he's going to accept my tshuva. Don't buy into that, says the Chovos haLevavos. Respond to that little voice. Respond to him with what the Navi Yecheskel says. But the Rosh calls him a Rosh. When he returns, he repents from all of his chatoim that he did with Shomas Kochukos, and he keeps my mitzvahs. He'll live. He won't die. It's eternally. All the shame are rebellious of it that he did won't be mentioned. He said kosher also yichah through the tzedakah, through the righteousness that he did afterwards. He'll live. Do I want the death of the Rasha? States Hashem, I'd rather he does tshuva, that's what I want, and he should live. Etc. to the rest. The Kanmainim, the earlier, and this is the Chovos haLevavos writing it, so I don't know who he's referring to. They already gave us a mashal, a mashal to someone who does tshuva at the end of his life. Someone had silver coins. And he had to cross a large river. Standing on the banks. He threw his coins into the river. He thought that with that he could dam the river, stop the water, and by doing that, and be able to walk across, like make a bridge over those coins. So he threw them all in, leaving only one in his hand. But it didn't work. The water's still flowing. When he saw that so he called out to a sailor who was going by there with his boat. Here, take this last silver coin that I have. As payment, you should use your boat to help me cross the river. Also, so the sailor did that. The Avios brought him to his destination for the payment of that one coin left. So that by that last coin, using that last coin, everything else he lost. He accomplished what he wanted to accomplish more than all of those other coins that he lost in the river. Being that he had designated those coins to use them to cross the river. Right? He was going to build a bridge with them or something, just to get across the river. That was important to him. And he accomplished it. So he didn't feel that he lost anything because when push came to shove, he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. Says the Chovos haLevavos, he sums up, so too about tshuva that he lost most of his days, most of his life he lost doing things that weren't avodas habayis. He threw him in the river. Now when he does tshuva at the end of his life, with those few last coins, few last days, Hashem forgives him for all those averos. as Yechezkel says, Kol Pshav, all of his rebellious affairs, so Yizachul won't be remembered. Voidomer Yechezkel, Kol Chatoisev Shachato Leitis Karana Loi. That's the motion. So even if at the end you just have a little bit left and you use it to do tshuva, so you've accomplished your goal. Says again, my brothers, he calls out, don't let it be difficult for you to accept the call of those who are calling out to you, to awaken you. That you should take note of yourself. At a time that I've allowed so much time to go past. I'm sorry, I explained that wrong. The Chovos is saying, don't say, at the same time, he's talking about himself, that I've not done what I'm calling out for you to do. I've allowed it. Yes, this is in his humility, right? He says, because what I'm saying to you is not only to you, I'm really talking to myself. I know that I also have to do it. Therefore, humble yourself in front of the truth. And don't run away from it. And thank Hashem that He awakened you. It's like now through this sefer. One of in the second shar in Shari Tshuva, he has, I think, 6, 7 motivations, things that motivate you to do tshuva. One of them is learning Svarim, listening to the words of the Chachamim. So,
is this talking to people who were born from an aware, or talking to Bali Tshuva? Because if you're born from an aware, then it doesn't sound like any of this would be relevant to you, because you should have already known it, and therefore your tshuva is not a sincere tshuva, because I don't know, whatever. It doesn't seem to add up. You know what I'm saying?
No. You can know something and not act upon it. The Yetzer Hara is very wild and very tricky, and he pushes it off and he makes you forget, and therefore you need something to awaken you. And that's what's this last, few paragraphs that we're learning, things that awaken you. Like we said, yeah, in Yerushalayim, you walk down the street and you see new signs. You hear the news, of people who suddenly died suddenly. There are things that awaken you to wake up. You can live your life and dream in a sleep. Uru Yishenim, right? That's what we say the shofar calls on Elul. Wake up those who are sleeping. So it talks to those who are from, talks to those who've done tshuva, talks to all of us. That's what it's talking to. It's talking to us. Don't run away from this. Right? You got the call. So use it. But and thank Hashem that He said this to you. And don't use the argument. As he's saying, and don't use this. Who are you to tell me? This is something that we all, like to use. You don't know better. I don't see you doing tshuva. My wife always quotes Rabbi, what's the name of it? He wrote a lot of these books. Roganovsky, you know what I mean? Rabbi, like a psychologist. Whatever. He says.
Tversky?
No, that's not a P. That's a P. Rabbi, I think he lived in Manchester. I think it's a P. Okay, maybe not. A lot of self-help Torah books. In any case, he said you got to separate the person from the message. It's a cop-out to say, who are you to tell me that? Listen to what he said. Is it right? Is it wrong? He's not doing it. He's not keeping it. He's not honest. So what? If the message is true, so it's good. If you're looking for truth, take it from wherever it comes. Right? And that's what he's saying. Don't use the argument that the person who's giving the message moves, I know he's not really there. I know he's just, whatever you want to say about the person. That's a cop-out. Because the message is true if it's true. Separate. Because this is an argument of the Yetzer Hara. It's a way. The message is making me uncomfortable. The truth is difficult to accept. It's true. I have to look myself straight in the eyes. So one of the Yetzer Hara's tricks is to say, what are you talking about? First, let him do it. First, let him do it. A big talker you are. He says, that's the Yetzer Hara. That, he says, is a way he traps a weak person, a person whose mind his chokhmah is weak, his seichel is weak. Because a person who's straight doesn't care. Hashem has many messengers. He can send you a phony. Doesn't matter. So he's a phony, that's his problem. Let him take his own inventory. You got to hear, is the message true? It's true, it's true. It's talking to me, it's talking to me. It addresses me, it addresses me. Alikim barachamov. Yosem eschalkeinu ben amizdarzim lachsa b'tshuvei lov. Says the Chovos haLevavos ends up with a one-line tefillah that Kadosh Baruch Hu, with His mercy, should give us that portion of being among those who are quick to do tshuva. Shalom elav b'leiv shalom, amen. And that brings us to Hashar Shmini Shar Cheshbon and Nefesh, which we did learn, but I guess we're going straight through, and it never hurts to have a chazor on this. This was also a very basic shar. Shar B'tochen's a basic shar, and this one, a basic shar by the Baal Musaf. There's 30 cheshbon and nefeshes that he says a person has to do. So in Mitzvah Hashem, we will start it tomorrow. Pinchas, welcome after such a long time.
He's muted. All right.
All right.
Oops. Let's stop.